Hello friends and welcome back to Broken BJJ. My name's Kenny. As you'll notice, first of all, we do have a microphone. It is plugged in, and so hopefully you should be hearing me a wee bit better on this video than on previous ones. But this week I want to talk about where I am in my second week back at training, and what I've learned this week about myself and about jiu-jitsu. Uh, in terms of the jiu-jitsu, we've been working on this new open guard entry, just a way of attacking a leg that then gives access to other things, an omoplata from one angle, an X guard entry from another, and a kind of crab ride entry from another angle, just depending on the reactions of your opponent. The first time I did this last week, I was just completely lost. I felt like I couldn't get my legs to go to the right places. I couldn't remember where my hands should be gripping. I was really finding it very, very difficult. But in subsequent sessions, this was on Tuesday, was the first time I did it. Thursday and Saturday last week, I was working with people who were new to the thing. It was their first session working with this stuff, and I was quite pleased that I was able to troubleshoot a little bit for them when they were practicing on me. I was able to say, well, the problem you're having is because your hand isn't here. You've left your hand here, or you need your foot to get further over this way, or whatever it was. And that's really pleasing for me, to be at a point where I felt like I had I had grasped the technique. I was getting how it was meant to work, and I'm not coaching somebody, but if they've missed that one little step when they've been watching the technique be demonstrated, it's okay, I think, for even a rubbish white belt like me to point out what the step is that they've missed. And I think that's been quite reassuring for me in some ways, to feel that I've got a grasp of the technique. I'm not good at it. I don't even know how much I would normally want to use this kind of technique. It's not the most comfortable or natural kind of movements for me. But that's kind of irrelevant, really. The important thing, I think, just now is just that I'm getting to class, I'm working, I'm getting my fitness levels back up, I'm slowly starting to get myself a little bit more flexible, just getting my movement a little bit more fluid. And so whatever I'm learning is a positive just now. There are probably going to be times over the coming weeks when I'm not learning things, I'm repeating things that I've done before. That's going to be fine too. Uh, Everything just now is just such a relief because I'm back at jiu-jitsu training. That's the biggest, most important part of all of it. My training partners again have been great. Uh, Again, there's very few white belts on Saturday, and I think on Thursday as well. I was the only white belt in the class, and that does put me in a slightly awkward position. I don't ever want to feel like I'm dragging anyone else's training down, and I think as a white belt, there is always that possibility that you're not able to work with purple and brown belts at the level that they need to be working at. Um, on the other hand, I suppose I'm there as somebody who's pretty much a blank slate. I'm a blank sheet. So maybe there's some value in that for them, and maybe somebody who doesn't know how to resist them is worth doing. Somebody who doesn't have any of their own ideas about what they're meant to be doing. I don't know. Uh, The other issue that there has been this week was on Tuesday. I tried to roll, and that was a mistake. As I mentioned last week, I had my surgery just over a month ago. Well, about 5 weeks ago now, I think. Uh, on my knee, I had a meniscus repair, and I thought, well, the pain is relatively low just now. Um, as long as I'm reasonably careful, I should be able to roll. So one of the other white belts that was there on Tuesday last week just asked me, do you want to roll? He didn't know anything about the state of my knee or indeed the state of the rest of my body. And I said, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. And like an idiot, I didn't tell him about my knee. Now, people who have been through injuries and people who have kind of permanent disabilities of various kinds, this is something that we all need to get better at. We all need to be able to say, these are my limitations, and please, please, please don't try to push beyond them. Now, I absolutely don't blame the guy that I rolled with. It was not his fault. He did absolutely nothing wrong, nothing dangerous, nothing even especially aggressive. He just didn't know about my knee. And so I kind of leaned back and was trying to pull him into my guard, and he just pushed down very hard on my shin and kind of bent my knee, flexed my knee further than it's really able to go right now. One of the things, if you've had a meniscus repair, you probably know this, but flexion, fully bringing your heel up to your butt, is one of the harder things about the recovery. It's one of the things that you do need to work on quite a bit. So I screamed in thoroughly embarrassing fashion, made every head on the mat turn to look at me to wonder what was wrong. Once everybody realized it was me, and I said, no, 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 I'm not dead, I'm just sore. Everybody relaxed a wee bit. But it was very painful. And it has been somewhat painful ever since. That's not an ideal situation, you know. And as I say, it was not anybody's fault but mine. I made a very, very, very stupid mistake by, first of all, I think attempting to roll quite this soon was a mistake. Secondly, it was certainly a mistake to roll with a big, strong white belt, and especially when not telling him what my limitations were. I think had I rolled with a brown belt or a purple belt, or you know, even with my coach, who I think was the only black belt there that day, then I think things would have been a bit different. But I made a critical mistake, and that's my fault. It's something that I think we probably all need to learn from, and I think when it comes to having permanent or at least long-term problems with your body, it is something that you just need to get used to. It's something that I have been doing for my entire time training. Most of the time I was telling people, guys, my shoulders are kind of a problem. Please don't Americana me. Please don't, really wrench on Kimuras or arm bars. Give me a bit of time to tap. And that has generally been okay. Guys generally have been fine. The only time I ever really got my shoulder hurt was one time when I didn't tell somebody, and he quite aggressively pinned my wrist for an Americana, and I let out one of those screams again. I have become known in the gym for my yelps. I do remember after that occasion with my shoulder, one of the coaches looking over and just going, "Oh no, everybody, it's fine. It's just Kenny. He makes noises like that sometimes." Uh, which, I mean, it's not exactly something to be proud of, but at least people do understand this is not. It's not something that I'm trying to do. I'm not, it's not attention seeking. It is just that occasionally my body doesn't work the way most people's bodies work. But in terms of the recovery from the surgery, I think part of it is just timing. The fact that I had my surgery so recently and then I was so excited about getting back to training, I kind of wanted to just jump in and do everything as soon as possible. And that obviously is a mistake. Every bit of advice I think out there about injury recovery in jiu-jitsu and in any other sport, people will say, don't push yourself too hard. Be careful about your recovery because you can end up doing more harm than good. Every bit of advice. But I think virtually everybody who has ever had an injury or who's been forced into a long layoff, virtually everybody has that itch to get back. Virtually everybody has that thing that says, I'll probably be okay. I'll just push a little bit harder. And I suppose what I've learned this week is that just because I want to push harder, just because I think things will probably be okay, is not necessarily a good enough threshold to make it okay to go ahead and train at full speed. I spoke to my coaches. We are going to dial it back a bit the next few weeks at least. I don't think I will be rolling at all. Again, if things feel good, if I feel strong, if I feel like the pain is going away, then maybe I'll try. Maybe I'll talk to some of the black and brown belts and say, can we try some just gentle movement? Let me see how I go. But I think I've learned my lesson, and I think for at least the next month, if not the next 2 or 3 months, I will be taking it much more carefully. As I say, technique classes, generally I don't think I'll have a huge problem. I mean, I can move reasonably well as long as it's all under my control. The thing that I'm worried about is something where somebody moves me in a way that I don't feel capable of moving on my own, like folding up my knee, potentially hyperextending my knee, or with my shoulders, the same thing of potentially hyperextending where I don't quite have even normal extension. So that's something I need to watch out for, something that I need to take responsibility for, and again, something where I think I need to be more conscious of the fact that this is my jiu-jitsu. It's not necessarily about what anyone else thinks of me. It's not necessarily about how good a training partner I am for other people even. It is about managing my body, my health, my learning in a way that maximizes my outcomes, that makes me the best jiu-jitsu player I can be. So I need to take responsibility for that. I need to be responsible for not overtraining, not pushing myself too hard, and also of my own safety, of telling people that I roll with, these are the issues. Can we work around them? Making sure that if there's something I physically can't do, that my coach understands that, so that he can help me perhaps find an alternative, or find a way around the problem that I have. So that's the plan for this week. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday this week I am out there. You won't see this video until after the Tuesday session, because I was a little bit later getting it recorded than I meant to. But we will. I will be back next week to talk a bit more about the developments that I'm making this week. So I hope that you. So until next week, thank you very much for watching. If you would like to leave a comment, let us know, please, if you've got any experience of this. How do you talk to your partners when you're trying to recover from an injury or you're not at 100% capacity? If you've got some long-standing issues, how do you talk to the people in your gym about that, and how do they react to the fact that you have those limitations? Please also do like the video if you enjoyed it. Please share it around if you think someone else would benefit from it, and please subscribe to the channel if you'd like to become part of this community and help us to grow the channel. It's all very, very much appreciated. But until next week, thanks very much for joining us, and I'll see you again soon.